Number 1. Living life, not a lifestyle. Have you ever heard the stories of luxury winners who blew their windfalls on big houses, fast luxury cars, and flashy jewelry, only to declare bankruptcy a few years later? This is because those people get caught up in the popular conception of the millionaire lifestyle without ever considering the logical consequence of spending all their money. Most of today's millionaires weren't born into money. They worked their way up, usually from the middle or working class. The millionaires who are most likely to still be millionaires 10 years from now aren't those who flaunt their wealth to excite admiration or envy. They are the ones who live quietly, well within their means, and go about their business without flash or splash. They know that becoming wealthy is not a matter of sacrifice, but of choice. When you choose to become a millionaire, you undoubtedly also choose to forgo a purchase today so you can do something bigger and better tomorrow. The poor have not learned how to reduce their expenses, whereas the rich have learned how to overcome their appetite. They spend within their means and never let the spending habits of others dictate theirs. Remember, how much you can safely spend while working toward your financial goals depends on what your goals are and where you are financially. Number 2. Won't waste money on brand names. You don't want to compromise on quality, especially in the areas where quality is important to you. But you also don't want to be duped into believing that brand name products are better or worth a substantially higher price. Be suspicious of companies that spend gobs on advertising. You should know that heavy advertising costs many dollars. And as a consumer of those companies' products and services, you pay for all that advertising. Sometimes, the only difference between the two products is that the name brand product costs more because of the branding and associated advertising and marketing. Branding is used in many fields to sell overpriced, mediocre products and services to consumers. Although all successful companies advertise their products, question the importance of the name and image of the products you buy, because companies spend a lot of money creating and cultivating an image which has zero impact on how their products taste or perform. Number 3. Looking for multiple income streams. When it comes to wealth creation strategies, investing wisely and managing your money actively are important, but nothing beats having more coming in the first place. Millionaires love creating multiple income streams. Look at any prosperous person you admire to see if diversity isn't a tool for unlocking greater prosperity. The rich usually have several money-making schemes going for them. This is especially important for anybody who loves their work, but it doesn't pay well. What you need is another income stream. There are a couple of ways of doing this. The first is to turn surplus cash into assets that will work for you and bring in income even when you aren't there. For example, rent from a buy-to-lease property or any dividends from shares you have bought. The other way to create new income streams is to find ways of using your skills and expertise in more than one setting, so you aren't just swapping your labor for a paycheck in your day job. This doesn't mean quitting your 9 to 5 necessarily. It might mean, for example, doing some freelance work either in the same area or a completely unrelated area where you also have skills and expertise. Maybe you have a hobby, which means you have other skills and expertise that could be used. Is there anything you could teach or consult on, or that you can set up as a business? Just make sure that you are maximizing all your skills to bring in income, and that you are actively investing in assets that will earn money for you without you having to be there. Number 4. The pursuit of minimalism. Advertisers and corporations like to define us as consumers. By encouraging us to buy as much as possible, they succeed in lining their pockets and growing their profits. And where does that leave us? Working long hours at jobs we don't like, to pay for things we don't need. Putting in overtime to purchase items that will be obsolete or out of style in a matter of months. Struggling to make credit card payments on stuff that's cluttering up our homes. But the good news is minimalist living sets us free. It releases us from the work and spend cycle, enabling us to create an existence that has little to do with big box stores, must-have items, or finance charges. Once we are warm, safe, and fed, we shouldn't feel compelled to browse a shopping mall or surf the internet to find more things to buy. Millionaires have the power to exercise complete control over what they buy, so don't let down your defenses when something slips into your cart. You may want to ask the following in your head of each potential purchase. Do you deserve a place in my home? What value will you add to my household? Will you make my life easier? Or are you gonna be more trouble than you are worth? Do I already have something that could accomplish the same task? All we need to do is stop and think why before we buy. This can weaken our desire to buy stuff that isn't necessary. If you have the habit of questioning yourself, you'll be happy to see at the end of the day how much you'll be able to save and see your bank account growing. Number 5. Distinguish between I need and I want. The first step to becoming a millionaire, as well as a minimalist, is knowing the difference between what you need and what you want, because it can help you gain control over your spending. However, it doesn't mean that buying stuff you want but don't need is wrong. We humans make many of our purchasing decisions subjectively rather than objectively. But remember, even millionaires don't have everything they want. The cost of any purchase isn't merely the sum of its price and the sales tax. Whenever you spend money, you may be passing up an opportunity to have that money work for you in a different way. Just stop and think about whether you need it before you buy anything expensive. You will have to judge what is expensive to you. I'm not telling you not to purchase anything expensive, but you should stop for a moment to understand your motive. Do you really need to buy the thing? Only you know the answer to that. Stop yourself every time you want to purchase something over $1,000 or $500. Now, wait a month and see if you still want that product or service. If you do and it's within your budget, then buy it. If not, then put the money you are going to spend into your savings or investment account. And please make sure the luxuries you afford are truly important to you. Some people often purchase something because they just want to have it. Someone else has it, or it's the latest or greatest items. Manufacturers and marketers make their money by quickly making products obsolete and by using advertising to persuade you that you need a new product now. Analyze your purchase behavior. If you're constantly buying new products while the old product is functional, then look to prioritize which new items you truly need and avoid impulse purchases of expensive things. Be hard on yourself about really needing stuff. You'll find yourself enjoying your life while saving money. Once you become better at differentiating between wants and needs, you'll probably see that you've been able to fulfill more of your desires over the years than you realize, and that can be a significant turning point. When you get clarity about your wants and needs, you can determine what's most important and plan your budget to make those dreams a reality. And remember, you can't have it all unless you can afford it. You will have to prioritize and have trade-offs. Last but not least, keep track of spending. Millionaires often have a clear picture of where their money goes, but most people fritter away much more money than they realize, and will be hard-pressed to identify where each of the dollars went in a given day, week, or month. Having a budget helps, but merely keeping track of your regular monthly expenses may not be enough to show you where you are letting your money slip through your fingers. Reviewing and keeping receipts can help you do this. It sounds silly, but it's true, and it's more difficult than you would think because it takes discipline. What you can try is, for a week, track every bit of your spending. Grocery, gas, restaurant, and even the coffee you pay this morning or so. Get receipts for everything, especially when you pay cash, and write down the spending you didn't get a receipt for. At the end of the week, tally the results. You may be surprised at how much you spend on things that don't really matter much to you. Doing the same experiment for an entire month will give you an even clearer picture of where your money goes, and that will help you identify where you can redirect your spending toward building wealth. As you get used to saving, you'll enjoy the feeling and want to save more. You can do the same for high-ticket receipts. File away credit card statements and look at them yearly so you can analyze your spending habits. The point here is by analyzing these receipts and your spending habits, you can see areas where you can easily reduce your spending, and it's certainly worth doing. By now, you should be able to see how and when you spend makes a huge impact on your ability to achieve your money goals. It takes time to develop good habits and it may not be easy. But still, you should take that progress and continue towards success. Now start taking care of your money so it can take care of you later. That's pretty much it for today. Hope you find the tips today useful. Thank you for checking out the video. See you next time.